Good evening. Tonight we will proceed with a brief analysis of the Iran-Gaza connection in order to unfold a not so self-evident truth. In the context of the latest escalation between Iran and Israel, and of course everything that we have been hearing since October 7 by the experts, there is a special relationship between Gaza and Tehran. But what is often forgotten to be told is how this connection was created and developed. I'll start by showing you a hand-picked piece of information from Sarah Roy's seminal work under the title The Gaza Strip, A Political Economy of Development. There, it is noted that after 1974, the bulk of the region's citrus, in other words, the main export commodity of Gaza, was shipped to Iran. If one were to isolate this information, he could showcase the deep roots of Gaza-Tehran cooperation. This would be one of a kind deception. What do I mean? We must not forget that since 1967, Gaza has been under absolute Israel control. And therefore, it was up to Tel Aviv to decide whether Gaza would export any products and where. By the way, based on everything we have been hearing these days, are you not so impressed with this Israel-Iran economic cooperation? If you are surprised indeed, it is because you forget that until 1979, Iran had a very different regime. And as the American academic's book points out a few lines later, with the overthrow of the Shah, Iran disappeared as a market for Gaza citrus. But what was this other regime in Iran like? And what did it have to do with Israel? Iran, prior to 1979, was ruled by the Shah, meaning the king. A king who had gathered power after the coup of 1953, which brought about the overthrow of the elected Prime Minister Mossadegh. Mossadegh's cardinal crime was no other than his attempt to nationalize the Anglo-Persian Oil Company, the predecessor of the well-known BP. And yes, of course, the coup was orchestrated by the CIA and British intelligence services. By the way, they had given the operation the Greek code name Ajax. To sum up, the oil-rich Iran, since the mid-50s, is placed in the Western camp. And for this reason, it progressively evolved into a partner of the then newly established Israel. Yes, Iran was Israel's main ally in the Middle East. In 1979, however, the unpopular Shah was overthrown by a popular uprising in which Shia clerics led by Ayatollah Khomeini played the main part. But why had the Shah become so unpopular? We can find the answer in the book on the international relations of the region written by Fred Halliday, one of the most important figures in the field of Middle Eastern studies, by the way. There, we see that the discontent that caused the overthrow of the Shah was largely the result of the close relations between the Iranian state and the USA and Israel. No institution was more hated and feared in Iran than the Savak, the secret police whose men, as everybody knew, were trained by the CIA and the Mossad. Think about what we have here. The non-Arab, non-Sunni Iran that also happened to be blessed with enormous mineral resources was lost by the US simply because Washington imposed a pro-Israeli policy on Tehran. The Iranians revolted, and because, just as the other main figure of Middle Eastern studies stresses, Raymond Hinebus, the single factor which has most profoundly shaped Middle East international politics is the conflict over Palestine and the sensitivity to it of the region's citizens, the new Irans, Foreign policy, therefore, undergoes a drastic change. And today, almost half a century later, not only is the US unable to benefit from Iran's mineral wealth, but also Tehran has become Tel Aviv's number one enemy and nightmare. Think about the above. Put aside any sentimentalism and try to grasp whether this unconditional support of the US towards Israel has actually served Washington's interests for the last 50 years. With this food for thought, I leave you. Best of luck and hopefully see you soon.